I think now's probably a good time to actually bring all of that up. Also, Gideon Wells, thank you for resubscribing. Also, it was good meeting you at MagFest. I'm sorry that I wasn't able to actually stay for conversation too much. I had to get Saki to get food. She was basically waiting on us to finish the Sonic panel that whole time and just really, really needed food. But signing your Meteor Golem was fucking cool. Anyway, let me go ahead and move myself here real quick so we can have a quick chat as to what the hell is going on and why we are where we are right now. Why am I talking about politics again? Well, very, very obviously, there's two reasons. One, and probably the easiest one to understand, is the video essay is taking longer than I thought it was going to take. Cherry's in the process of editing it, the scripting is done, the voicing is done, all that stuff is done, but as of right now, that does not equate to income coming in as far as job stuff is concerned. Also, Anonymous Gifter, thank you for gifting a sub, which then goes to Lilith Heartless, and that gives us a hype train. I wasn't aware we were getting a hype train right now, but apparently we are, as I just try to explain where we're at. So, one of it is financial, and I do want to be completely honest with everybody here. Yes, one reason that I want to return to talking about politics on stream is financially motivated. Video essays take a while to make, and I do need to make sure that there is income coming in the interim. And while YouTube advertiser revenue is not the greatest, it is still a non-zero amount of dollars. So, that said, that is one reason. Also, another anonymous gifter, thank you for gifting a tier 1 sub to Drellic. That continues our hype train. The next reason is, well, the Trump administration is kind of fucking dumb. Like, really dumb. Doing things like cutting federal funding that would go to Medicaid, having ICE raids in places like schools. Sidebar, if you want to make sure that ICE never raids a school, maybe make sure that they are fully staffed by the police from the Uvalde shooting. That will definitely make sure that they never step foot in a school ever. They're apparently terrified of those things. So, with the current administration, I basically have two options. Make video essays about what's going on, in which case I will just sit here as a little bottle of anger, unable to actually function because I'm not speaking my mind on all the shit that's happening, or alternatively, spend time talking about what is going on and doing it in a way that I know and understand. I could sit here and yell on Twitter.com. I could sit here and yell on BlueSky.com. I could sit here and yell on Facebook, but ultimately, none of that will actually accomplish anything at all. But what can accomplish something, what can do something, is talking about these things to my audience, talking about these things to people who can engage in action and are not sitting around being keyboard warriors. Sidebar, there is going to be more of a focus going forward with content on what to actually do now that the administration has effectively turned into a pseudo-fascistic one. I say pseudo because fascism is not a thing that happens and then we're there. It is a slow burn where people are basically frogs in a pot of boiling water, and the water boils slower and slower until finally everybody is burning to death. So now that we are in that stage where things are going to get worse and worse and worse as we get closer and closer to, well, a fully fascistic government, I think it's a good idea for us to start talking about what we can do to solve these problems. And let's go ahead and start with the obvious one. Y'all need to be talking to your representatives. Not talking to them on the phone, not sending them anything in the mail. No, we need to be getting to our actual capitals and talking to our representatives face to face and putting the reality of where we are in front of them. A lot of the executive orders that Trump has proposed that fuck with the budget have to go through Congress. They have to go through Congress in order to get approved. So if we can force Congress to work with us and not the orange shitlord at the top, then we will be doing a lot more good than just sitting back and waiting for the worst shit to fucking happen. Period. There are people who, under the current administration, are going to be losing their jobs, are going to be losing their funding, are going to be losing all kinds of things they need simply to function. So it's time to threaten your local congressman with their job. It's time to go there and let them know that their constituents are going to be fucking ousting them if they do not work for us, as they should have been doing the entire goddamn time. Gay Asparagus says, can we speak using bricks yet? The ideal scenario is to never have to speak using bricks, but to always have one behind your back just in case. That's the thing we need to be doing. Storm says, I'm sick of the find community statements. I refuse to go across the aisle to people who laugh at my suffering and people who don't like me in general. I'm not asking you to go across the aisle right now. I'm not asking you to go across the aisle. I'm asking you to have a spine. I'm asking you to stand up to the people across the aisle who laugh at you, to the people across the aisle in politics, to those people, and make a very, very declarative statement. You deserve to exist. You deserve to be around. You deserve to be here, functioning, and not having to fucking fight. I'm not asking you to go be buddy-buddy with every conservative out there. The time for that was before all the executive orders that basically said that bodies are going to start piling up. Now is the time to tell those people who you are in no uncertain terms. Hype train is completed. Thank you very much, everybody. That said, the people who matter the most are not just the people who are voting. The people who matter the most are the people who write the laws. So it's time to not just go to your congressman, but go to the support groups around those congressmen. Go on to Facebook. Figure out where the local meetups are for your Democratic campaigns, for your Republican campaigns. Go into those places and start influencing those policies. I can tell you from my experience, which is not a ton, but is still some, your Democratic local campaigns are going to be doing a lot of patting themselves on the back for gaining a couple of percentages over the last time that they tried winning an election. And you know what that really means to me? It means they failed. It means they fucking failed, and they are trying to find a way to cope with that. So maybe it's time that we start going into there, looking at the leadership in the Democratic campaigns and usurping it. Finding a way to get other, younger, more experienced with technology people into those areas of power, small areas of power, but the areas that affect who is actually going to be getting a congressman elected, who is actually going to be getting a representative elected, going into those areas and replacing the failed fucking leadership. After you do that, or even while you're doing that, if you've got some time, look at the local party for the opposing side and figure out what ways they are galvanizing their people. Because I guarantee you, those people are not just patting themselves on the back and celebrating. They are figuring out which ways to get more people motivated, which ways people are talking, which ways people care about voting. If we keep losing to fucking Republicans when they are fascist, heartless bastards, maybe we need to start looking at the techniques they're using and figuring out which ones are not so toxic to be adapting. Gay Asparagus says, now is the time for me as an atheist to band together with liberal Christians, Muslims, Buddhists, pagans, Satanists to fight Christian nationalism. Yes, I guarantee you. Like, this is one of the reasons I stopped doing atheist content specifically. Because the atheist community for a while had this weird idea that, like, just getting rid of the Christianity solves this problem. The Christianity is a goddamn smokescreen. It is. Ripper, thank you for the follow. The Christianity is a smokescreen. Any religion, any mechanic, anything that could have been possibly used would have been the thing that would be rallied around. You get rid of one smokescreen, another one will just come up. And yeah, Wingcaster, you are correct. We don't keep going high while they go low. We start looking at their fucking strategies and adapting them for ourselves. That's what we do. We don't do the opposite thing because that makes us the better people. We start looking at what the Republican Party is doing, and we start doing the same things in a better way. That's what we do. The Republican Party gets really good at using propaganda against us. We need to start getting really good about using propaganda against them. The Republican Party starts getting really good about demonizing us. We need to start getting really good at undemonizing us to them, proving every single thing that they do and say as fucking wrong. Gay Asparagus says religion is a tool used by people to control others. Tools can be used for good or bad. True. Figure out which tool is being used and warp it. Christian nationalism requires the tendency for Christianity to go full-on dominionism on people and start talking about the ways in which God has us as the chosen people and we can do no wrong and we can do holy war shit. Take Christianity and start looking at the humanitarian aspects of it and use that. You're not going to convince somebody who's a Christian to just stop being a Christian and then suddenly they're a better fucking person. That's not going to happen. That's how you get more atheism is unstoppable fuckers. You need to start getting people who are hyper-Christian and appealing to the better parts of their Christianity and proving them wrong with their own goddamn book. And yeah, that's a whole lot harder. That's a whole lot harder than just telling them God's not real. That's a whole lot harder. And it doesn't fucking matter. Because the other side is doing that already. The other side is using Christianity as a tool to get people to agree that trans people need to be wiped out, that immigrants need to be deported and killed. So why can't we start doing the same? Why can't we start using their book against them? They're using that book against them, and trust me, those people, I promise you, the liberal Christians look at the nationalists and say those aren't real Christians. We can use that. We can. We have the ability to. I promise you, a lot of you who've been watching atheist content for years have the capacity to do this because some of y'all motherfuckers know the Bible better than the average Christian does. The average Christian that pretends they use the Bible to reorganize all of their thoughts, to inform everything they do, that person, that Christian, I promise you, if you're watching a shit ton of atheist content, you probably listen to stuff about the Bible more than they do. You can definitely start using that book to your advantage. Storm says, I'll be honest, I've lost the ability to fight after November 5th. People decided to tell me my body and life aren't mine anymore, and I'm too depressed, but I'm not saying you guys are wrong. Storm, with all due respect, I understand exactly where you're coming from. It makes sense to be beaten down. It makes sense to be burnt out. It makes sense to not have the will to go on right now. But I promise you things are going to get a whole lot better if you just get up and fight. Fight out of fucking spite. Go to your congressman, figure out what the fuck is in their head. Threaten their job. Become one of the many constituents. Get more constituents around there, making them terrified to lose their goddamn job. And if you can get on the good side of a congressman, start writing the goddamn law. Yeah, that's a thing you can do. Go to your .gov website, look at the language that laws are written for, and start adapting that. It's a third grade reading assignment at best. I'm not saying this because it's a desperate time. It is a desperate time, but that is not the reason I'm saying that. I am saying that because the time to sit here on the internet and just kind of type away at your keyboard about how things are bad is fucking over. It's been over. It's proven ineffective, and it is just... Seth Andrews has used a wonderful term to respond to it, and it is called slacktivism. The right wing wins when your will is broken. They win when you feel like there's nothing more you can do. They win when it feels like the only option you have is violence, and then you get turned into the next news article about how the left is inconsolable, and you get used as a weapon against everybody else on the left. That's what the right wants. They want you to be so mired in despair you can't think of strategy. They want you to be so upset you can't think about things getting better. That's what they want. That's what makes them thrive. So don't let them have it. Don't let them win. December 8th. There is going to be an event in Hiram, Georgia, called Dining with Dems. I am going to be in attendance at that event, and I am going to be seeing what else I can do there. A good friend of mine is the vice president of the local party now. I am in the district where Marjorie Taylor Greene is. If you want to try to help fix my district, that happens on February 8th. Not December 8th, February 8th. Sorry, I don't know why I'm saying December 8th. That is happening February 8th. And we are going to be trying to figure out strategy for ousting Marjorie Taylor Greene. We are going to be trying to figure out the best path forward for getting rid of our representative, who doesn't represent anybody fucking here with her Jewish space laser ass. But I don't want it to just be me. I don't want it to just be me there with the other local people. There's a thing I learned from the first time that I went to one of these meetings. Everybody there is old. There's a handful of people there who are your age and my age. 20s, 30s. Most everybody there is 50s, 60s, 70s. They've been doing this fucking political fight for so goddamn long, they need replacements. And moreover, they need replacements who can say things other than just, go meet your neighbors. There was one person at one of these meetings. There was one person at one of these meetings who made the comment that the left needs their own Joe Rogan. And not, oh, we need somebody who is as good as Joe Rogan. No, we need somebody who is as prolific as a Joe Rogan. That seems like a centrist, but operates the way Joe Rogan does, where he just ends up favoring the right wing more often than not. We need that. And when I heard that, I was like, yeah, that's fantastic. But of course, it was somebody who was like 27, 28 who gave that suggestion. It was somebody who understands the current online political landscape. Everybody who was above 50, they gave the advice of, if you just knew your neighbors better. Just knowing your neighbors better helps them defend you in a survival situation. It makes them more likely to vote in your favor. But when it comes to scale, it just isn't fucking enough. Jump Point says you need to be that. I wish I could. If time and random chance happens to make it so that I end up doing that, then cool, whatever. But as it stands right now, I'm a tiny YouTuber with a 50,000 subscriber channel, 60,000 now, I think, who suffered a huge burnout and spent 3 months not making content outside of my Magic the Gathering content, which is doing really well, by the way. As of right now, we don't have that person. And I don't know the strategy to get that person in. But you know who does? Probably one of you. Probably one of the other people in one of those meetings, if only they know they have to think about it. I'm not a fucking political genius. I'm an idiot when it comes to political things. I talk about it not because I'm an expert. I talk about it because I care. I talk about it because I have a girlfriend who I want to protect. I talk about it because I have friends I want to protect. But I'm not a fucking expert in this thing. The fact that any of you watch me talk about politics is astounding to me. It is astounding to me that any of you think that what I have to say fucking matters in the slightest, because it doesn't. But if I, with zero fucking experience in this field, outside of what I've done when I've thrown myself into it, can get up here and talk about this shit, so can you. Every one of you can. I'm a goddamn idiot and I can do this. Every one of you can do this way better than I can. Merrick Rand says, I want to talk about politics with it just without it just being how do we not die? Then talk about politics without it just being how do we not die? Don't talk about how to survive, talk about how to thrive. Silly Shinobi says, you want us to become content creators? I don't think you need to become a content creator, because what I do isn't just content creation. What I do is I get up in front of a virtual stage, sometimes a real stage. I did that at MagFest. And I talk about things that I care about. Every one of you can do that. Every one of you has done that in my chat. Because y'all talk about your passions, I know bits about y'all's lives that I otherwise would not know. Every one of you that frequents my chats, there's little bits of your lives that I get to learn about. And if you have the passion to talk about that shit in a Twitch chat, you have the passion to talk about that stuff at a dinner with other politicians. Other people that are in control of politicians. Clueless Expert says, do we need to know about theory? Fuck, you don't. You don't need to know about theory. Theory is for converting a government from what it is into something that it is not. Right now, that is not your goal. Right now, your goal is stopping fascism. Right now, your goal is bulwarking. Right now, your goal is defense. Read theory if you want to read theory. I'd highly recommend Conquest of Bread. It's a very boring book, but at the very least it gets across a very important thing about revolutions and how revolutions fail. It's okay to not know theory. Conquest of Bread, Lenari. It's okay to not know theory. What's not okay is to be apathetic. What's not okay is to think that you can't do anything about the current environment. You can. You and I elect politicians. You and I are the only reason they have their jobs. It's time we start acting like it. Hey, just wanted to give a quick thank you to all of my wonderful patrons who help keep me afloat and help keep this channel going. YouTube and Twitch are wonderful platforms, but at the end of the day, stability is not one of their strong suits. If you want to support my channel, then obviously Patreon is one of the best ways of doing that. Link is in the description. But I do want to personally thank everybody who has contributed to the channel. Those people would be Red Joker, Purple Poundini, Jemshin, Britzkrieg, Jupe the Malignant, Michael, Ravalern, Mabbity Babbity, Astral Frontier, Autumn and Angel, Nixie Chan, Agamotto, Victorian Alchemist, I'm not saying the last part of that, and you know that, Arcton Arclacier, Kiratorian, Dren Hadamata, Jordan M, John L, Lord Bleck, Smiling Game Master, and Fireshard. And everyone else who supports my channel and lets me do what I do full time. This is a dream job of mine that I never believed that I would be able to take full time, and with your help, I've been able to do it. So thank you so very much for that. Thank you for watching the video. I hope you all enjoy, and I hope you all are having a wonderful time. I will see you all in the next one, hopefully.